Winning ways. Find out which Point Park team is on a win streak. High school football is back. Check out these highlights from our game of the week. And here we go, as the Steelers kicked off their home opener against the Raiders this past Sunday. It's time to come on down to the Pioneer Sideline. Good evening, and welcome to another season of Pioneer Sideline. I'm Natalia Hillen. As we begin our first month of school, Point Park's fall sports are on their way. As this past month, the Point Park esports team had a match in this early season competition. And to catch us up with everything you need to know, we bring in EJ Dwyer. EJ, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Natalia. Down goes the Crimson Tide. Point Park Esports started off their collegiate Valorant season with a 2-0 win over Alabama Esports in their first game over the weekend. With that win, they also took a 2-1 loss to Akron Esports. The team will have another chance to advance to their Fall Brawl tournament next Sunday, the 26th. Make sure to tune in to their Twitch at PointPark_esports to cheer them on as they continue through the bracket. Back to you, Natalia.
Switching gears to the turf, the women's soccer team had another shutout as they defeated Oakland City with a score of 1-0 on Saturday. Kara Spry tallied for the only goal of the day, 50 seconds before halftime for the win. With that win, the women's soccer team are now 2-0 in the RSC play, as they have overall record of 2-5 on the season with a 2-game winning streak after their last Thursday victory over Brescia 4-0. Point Park steps out of conference play next Wednesday, September 22nd, at home against the Washington Adventists. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. at Highmark Stadium. River State's conference play continues next weekend at home against Carlo on September 25th at 10 a.m. at Highmark. Now when we come back, find out which Pioneer squad is on a 6-game win streak. And then we have highlights of our high school game of the week. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Point Park's women's volleyball team won both of their back-to-back games on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, they won the final 2 sets against Rio Grande with a final score of 3-2. In the first match, WVU Tech took the lead with a score of 26-24. In the second match, the Pioneers tied it up with a win of 25-19. After WVU won the third set, the Pioneers won the final 2 sets to get them the 3-2 win against Rio Grande. On Saturday, the Pioneers played against WVU Tech. WVU Tech won the first 2 sets, 25-17 and 25-20. Point Park won the last 3 sets in the final game, making the final score 3-2. Point Park remains undefeated in the RSC Conference, 3-2, and the Pioneers play their next game on Tuesday, September 21st at Ohio Christian at 7 p.m. Good luck, ladies. Now let's take a look at this week's schedule in all Point Park sports. Now we hand things over to Ben Tenuta with highlights of our high school football game of the week.
Thanks, Nat. High school football is back, and on this season of Pioneer Sideline, we will be featuring highlights from the biggest games of the week. Last Friday, we traveled to Penn Trafford for a 5A matchup between the Penn Trafford Warriors and the Peters Township Indians.
A beautiful backdrop here in Harrison City for Peters Township and Penn Trafford. Thanks. Takes the shotgun snap. He's looking over the middle. Blindside pressure, steps up, he throws. A wobbling pass that's caught for a touchdown in the end zone. Peters Township quarterback Miller takes the snap, takes the handoff. Pocket collapsing, being pursued. Got away with a hold, throws it down to the end zone. Catch is made, back pylon, and they scored a touchdown. McCosco reels it in. Stays in bounds. Second down and 1 inside the 6. Handoff Yakimelli. Yakimelli to the end zone. Touchdown Warriors. They fake the jet sweep, and Green runs over the 10, runs over the 5, and runs into the end zone. Touchdown Warriors. Snap back to Miller. Looks left, throws that way. Catch inside the 35-30, springing it loose. Here's Janefeld, takes it to the house, 41 yards.
Thank you to Dan Zangurli and KDKA Radio for the commentary. Penn Trafford will look to bounce back after losing 2 in a row as they travel to Shaler this Saturday. Peters Township looks to make it 2 in a row as they host a winless Connellsville Friday night. This Friday, we travel to Bell Vernon as they host the rivals Thomas Jefferson in an undefeated conference battle at the beach. Both teams have already looked like 4A powerhouses with their explosive offenses and defenses. Now, back to you, Natalia.
Well, thanks, Ben. Coming up next, find out how the Pittsburgh Pirates wrapped up their series with the Marlins, and later we recap Week 2 of the NFL. All that and more next.
Forty 40% of food in the United States is never eaten. At the same time, 1 in 8 Americans is struggling to put enough food on the table. Before you let your food go bad or throw your leftovers in the garbage, think about your options. To learn more about food waste and how you can reduce food waste at home, visit www.nrdc.org/issues/food waste.
Welcome back. The Pittsburgh Pirates wrapped up their series with the Marlins, and the Pitt Panthers hosted Western Michigan this past Saturday. To discuss what's going on regionally in sports, let's send things over to Jacob Kubik.
Thanks, Natalia. The Pirates traveled down to Florida to battle the Marlins of Miami in a 3-game series this weekend. On Friday, the Pirates won a low-scoring battle by a score of 2-1, backed by a solid outing by Will Crowe. On Saturday, the Pirates offense made their presence known in their 6-3 win. Cole Tucker went 3 for 5 with a triple and an RBI. The win on Saturday guaranteed the Pirates their 4th straight series win. On Sunday afternoon, the Pirates showed some fight, being down 3-2. However, the Marlins eventually hit a 2-run home run to walk off the Pirates by a score of 6-5. Fresh off their emotional upset victory against Tennessee, the Pitt Panthers returned home to the friendly confines of Heinz Field to take on the Western Michigan Broncos. Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett threw for 382 yards and 6 touchdowns, but wasn't enough to secure a win with a final score of 44-41. In Penguins news, the team released a list of 58 invitees to participate in training camp. The Penguins played the Columbus Blue Jackets at home on Monday, September 27th for their first of 6 exhibition games of the preseason.
Thanks, Jacob. Now let's hand things over to Steelers fan 7 himself, John Mayer, with a recap of the Steelers' home opener. John?
Thanks, Nat. The Steelers suffered a tough loss in the home opener to the Raiders by a score of 26-17. It was a tough afternoon down at Heinz Field, as the Steelers' offense struggled against the Raiders' defense for the majority of the afternoon. The offensive line struggled in particular, failing to give Ben Roethlisberger enough time and allowing Ben Roethlisberger to be hit 10 times and sacked twice. Derek Carr took advantage of a Steelers defense that was snake-bitten by injuries to multiple key players, including T.J. Watt, Devin Bush, Joe Hayden, and Tyson Alualu. Unfortunately, injuries were the story of the day, as Watt left the game with a groin injury, and Alualu was lost for the year with a fractured ankle. The Steelers will now look to rebound in an AFC North matchup against the rival Bengals at Heinz Field in a meeting of 1-1 teams.
Well, thanks, John. Along with the Steelers, Week 2 of the NFL season had some thrillers this weekend. To recap what's going on nationally in the league, let's toss things over to Samuel Parator. Sam?
Thanks, Natalia. Another exciting week of NFL football is in the books, and much like its predecessor last week, Week 2 did not disappoint. I start in Arizona with the Cardinals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. If you like offense, this was the game for you, as the Cardinals picked up a 34-33 victory thanks to an unfortunate miss on the last-second field goal try that would have given Minnesota the win. Kyler Murray put on an offensive clinic in this game, throwing 29 of 36 for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, whereas Kirk Cousins threw 22 of 32 for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Vikings. Also, to give kickers some attention, Arizona's veteran kicker Matt Prater made a 62-yard field goal during this game, which is insanely impressive. Next up is the Sunday Night Football game, which saw the Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Jackson has struggled when it comes to facing the Chiefs, but he turned it around as they shocked the Chiefs, pulling out a win 36-35 after a costly fumble by Clyde Edwards-Helaire on a drive that very well could have won it for the Chiefs as they were in field goal range. This game also saw a lot of offense as both star quarterbacks put on a show. Lamar threw 18 of 26 for 239 yards and a touchdown while rushing for 107 yards, while Patrick Mahomes threw 24 of 31 for 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. What a game, as Baltimore is involved in yet another thriller, this time picking up the shocking win. Lastly, Monday night saw Aaron Rodgers and the Packers get revenge after their disastrous season opener as they picked up a decisive 35-17 victory against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers also bounced back in a huge way, throwing 22 of 27 for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns. He went from producing 3 fantasy points to producing almost 27, which is a good sign for anyone who owns Rodgers in fantasy. That is all for me and another crazy week of NFL football.
Thanks, Sam. Coming up next, is TJ Watt worth the price? Stay tuned for Case of the Week next. Welcome back. The Steelers' edge rusher, TJ Watt, cashed in with the richest steal for a defensive player in NFL history. However, this past Sunday, he suffered a groin injury, preventing him from returning to the game. Are the Steelers' all-pro pass rusher worth being the highest paid defender ever? Sam, what do you think about this?
I would say he is deserving of that title. He, look at the numbers last year, almost defensive player of the year worthy, and you look at what he's been able to do already this year, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, able to get a sack before he went out of the game. I feel like he is.
I totally agree with you. John, what are you thinking over there?
100%. He's a generational talent. The Steelers had to lock him up long term because they're not going to find another player like him for a very long time. He should be a 2-time defensive player of the year. TJ Watt already making an impact, even without practicing at all this summer with the team. That's just crazy. Already 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. It's a shame he got injured, but it's not a major injury. He should be back relatively soon. So he's worth every penny of that deal. He's a superstar.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with Olians. I think after last year's performance, we saw what he did. Almost won Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people think he should have, and I agree with that. But just look at Sunday. Didn't practice all year. Comes out there, balls out against the Bills. He's the reason why we won that game. The defense shut him out, and I think he's worth every penny.
I feel like he's really proved himself, and the fact that the injury I don't really think has anything to do with the fact that he's got that offer. So I totally agree with you guys on that one. Anything else you guys want to say about TJ Watt and how his performance has really affected the Steelers in a good way?
He's worth every penny. It's a good thing they locked him up.
I completely agree. And you look at the kind of deal, Steelers don't usually dish out guaranteed money all that much. And the fact that they did that with TJ Watt's deal, that says a lot about the talent that he is.
So if we look at the other side of it, do you guys think, I already know your opinions on everything, but look at the other side, do you think that he doesn't deserve to be the highest paid defender? Like, if you look at the other side of things, just if you open up your perspective on it.
I mean, he statistically outplayed the market. Joey Bosa was the highest paid defender, getting around, I want to say, $128 million a year, and he outplayed that. He led the league in sacks. He led the league in forced fumbles. So he set the market. So he deserves to be paid. He deserves to be the highest paid player because he set the market. He's producing at the highest level right now. So, I mean, he set the market. They had to pay him. They had to pay him the money.
Yeah.
I agree.
You look at the numbers that he put up last year, leading in pretty much every important statistic that you look at as a defender. He led in that.
And you could see on last Sunday's game, the pressure wasn't really there on Carr, and we really missed out not having him in there.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, TJ Watt is definitely worth being paid the highest paid defender in the NFL. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer channel, and the same Pioneer Sideline.